Rabbi Menken. Great to have you with us. Give us an update on the whole Gaza thing and what's going on there.
Great to be back with you. As usual, Hamas has a deal only in order to break the deal. That's what Hamas does. That is the latest. They are refusing to return the last couple of bodies. And now this is, we're talking about deceased hostages. We're talking about parents waiting to bury their deceased child, and Hamas is simply stringing it along and needlessly holding on to them. Unfortunately, because of the deal that Israel was cajoled into signing, it's like the Israelis are sort of held back from being able to just go in and clean up shop. Hamas has consolidated power. All the so-called pro-Palestine protesters, they have displayed over the last month or so that they don't care at all about Palestinians, not a single bit. Because the Hamas terrorists are consolidating power, shooting anybody who opposes them, literally, and beating them to death, and then shooting them after they have a broken leg and whatever else. That's the Hamas operation. And of course, there's been no protest about that whatsoever. Only when Hamas goes in and tries to kill Israelis and the Israelis shoot back, then these so-called pro-Palestinian protesters have decided that, oh, you see, Israel's attacking Gaza despite the ceasefire. That's not how it works. When somebody shoots at you and you shoot back, you're not the one responsible for the violation, but they don't care. They only care if it's an opportunity to blame the Jews for what others are doing.
So where do we go from here?
Well, I think that at a certain point, the Trump administration needs to tell the Israelis, okay, if Hamas refuses to disarm, and that was explicitly part of the deal, and if they refuse to release the last two bodies, and that was explicitly part of the deal, I don't know if your viewers and readers and listeners, have memory about this, but several weeks ago, they made a big show. The Hamas terrorists brought a body to a site, they buried it surreptitiously, and then along comes the van to supposedly exhume and find the body and recover it and give it to the Red Cross to transfer to Israel. That's how they're operating. At a certain point, Trump has to say, no more of this. We're going to let the Israelis go in, eliminate Hamas, and then we can have a hope for peace in that region. You cannot have peace in that region with Hamas in power. That's kicking the can down the road, waiting for the next atrocity Hamas will commit. And then sadly, that's where we are.
I don't know. I mean, I thought they were supposed to disarm, and there was supposed to be a new leadership in there with a bunch of different countries, and Trump was the chairman, and they were going to disarm, and then all the Palestinians come back, and basically they're under new rule. Whatever happened to that?
Well, that's precisely the point. Hamas takes a deal only in order to break it when it's convenient for them. They have not
disarmed?
That is correct. They have not disarmed at all. The international headquarters has been built on the Israeli side of the yellow border, but on the Hamas side, Hamas has consolidated power. They've done nothing to disarm.
So we had a deal. We got the hostages back. That's in and of itself, that's great. We're getting the bodies back, but there's still some missing. But the disarmament, which was the key to this thing, they were supposed to disarm. That's why the IDF withdrew. What's the IDF doing now? Are they on the border? Where are they?
You've got it exactly correct. The Israelis are waiting for a green light from Trump to go clean out Hamas, because that's what needs to be done. Hamas will not disarm on its own. Many more people are going to die, and the responsibility for all of that is going to lie with Hamas. Don't believe what you read on X or anywhere else. The responsibility here for all the deaths lies with Hamas, which simply could have never started. They never needed this whole fight. This whole thing was ridiculous. Now Hamas is going to lose badly. The Israelis are going to have to go in. The Israelis are right now sitting on the other side of what they call the yellow boundary. They have a buffer zone to protect their civilians from Hamas. There are actually Hamas fighters caught in tunnels behind behind that yellow line, and they can't come out without being arrested or killed. It's going to be one way or the other, unless they, if they surrender, they get arrested. If they don't surrender, they get shot. And the Hamas fighters would rather stay in those tunnels and try to wait it out, because they're trying to hope that the Americans will force the Israelis once again to make some sort of untenable deal.
Let me just ask you something. We were supposed to get they were supposed to disarm. And then President Trump said, you have X days to disarm, or I'm going to basically, the deal's off and IDF can go in and do whatever they want. Was there a deadline on that, or does this just go on for another 6 months?
Unfortunately, it's starting to look just a little bit like, remember when Obama sent red lines in Syria and the terrorists immediately went dancing across the red lines and nothing happened? This is a problem right now. The Trump administration needs to show, and they have in the past. It's not like the past 9 months have gone nowhere. Look at what Trump has done ever since he came into office. This is a very strange situation that we're in right now, where the Trump administration is not putting their feet to the fire where Hamas is concerned. Hamas is clearly violating the deal. There's no question about it. There's nobody who doubts this. And they committed to disarmament. They are not disarming. In fact, they've said now publicly they will never disarm. So where is the Trump administration? Why are they not saying, okay, look, no choice. You've left us no choice. It's time to clean house.
I mean, I just think they just need to get out of the way of the IDF. The problem is that you've got here. We're with Rabbi Yankov Menken. There is Israeli fatigue now going on within the MAGA movement. I mean, it is really fatigue, and we're concerned about the midterms. There's a divide in the movement. We've got to get together. People are sick. There's a portion of our base that is sick of dealing with Israel. They don't want to give them any more money. They don't want to do anything. And this thing is just dragging on. And this is a real issue. There's Israeli fatigue. And so I don't know where we're going to go with this, but my whole concern now is domestic midterms. Got to get the economy going. Got to get the focus off these foreign entanglements that we're in. I understand. Look, I'm 100% behind everything that's been done, but President Trump has got to focus on the domestic economy. We got to get prices down, growth up, interest rates down. Otherwise, we are going to lose the midterms, and then he'll get impeached on the third day and the presidency's over. So I just want you to understand what some of the MAGA fatigue is here with what's going on in Israel. I don't know how to get around that.
Well, first of all, you have to maintain moral clarity. There's been no change. Hamas started off as genocidal terrorists. They're not any less genocidal terrorists. You have a problem. People have a problem with Israel and how long the war has gone on. Well, it's very simple. The Israelis prioritize innocent lives too much. I understand. Everybody else, which is, why didn't they just go in? If Mexico had done this to Texas, Mexico would be molten glass. The whole thing would be over. It'd be done in a minute. But the problem is here that the Israelis, again, they value life too much. They can't have a situation. Hamas they clearly demonstrated, they showed it by murdering 3 of the hostages instead. I think it's 6, I'm sorry. Instead of allowing them to be rescued. They knew that the IDF was closing in, so Hamas killed 6 of the hostages. The Israelis know this is the ace card that Hamas was holding for so long. And so only when Trump brokered that deal did we get all the living hostages released. And that's when, now there's a prospect for something to move forward. Until then, the Israelis had to keep prosecuting the war. And yes, that's very unfortunate, but it's simply because they value innocent lives too much, and they couldn't have Hamas murder more of the hostages. Okay, sorry.
I get that.
Rather they do it the Mexico way.
We all get that.
Here's the thing.
We all get that. We all get it. And the fact that the hostages got out of there is, I think, President Trump's one of his biggest accomplishments in this term. is getting those 20 innocent lives out of there and back to their family. That was a yeoman's
Yep.
effort. But the purpose of keeping the hostages was so that Hamas had leverage. Now they have no leverage. I mean, I just don't know why you just don't get out of the way and let the IDF do what they do. Just like turn it over to them. Hey, wash my hands of the whole thing.
I'm with you. I'm with you completely. The IDF needs to be able to finish the job, eliminate Hamas. Then there's a prospect for rebuilding and peace in the middle. It's amazing. The problem is there's a real domestic problem here. There is a domestic problem when Hamas places its explosives and its ordnance underneath mosques, inside schools, underneath hospitals, and underneath civilian buildings in all those tunnels. And then people in America are blaming somebody else when all that Hamas ordnance blows up. All those pictures of the destruction in Gaza. There have been pictures, video, of the Israelis doing a precision strike on a tunnel and terrorists in that tunnel. And you see the little flash of the explosion. A moment later, there's a massive explosion and an entire neighborhood is turned to rubble. That's not because of the Israelis. That's because of Hamas. That's because of everybody who said, oh, no, you have to let concrete into Gaza. You have to let them build. They didn't build hospitals. They didn't build schools. They built terror tunnels. They have a longer terror tunnel network than the London Underground underneath civilian buildings.
We're just dorking around with these people. I mean, I'm now in favor of just washing my hands of it.
I'm with you. Just bomb the whole thing. It's going to be very sad. They're going to be innocent Gazan civilians who die. Most of the Gazans, by the way, were cheering and whistling. The hostages who've now been returned say they recall the day that they were kidnapped. The people out in the streets were dancing, cheering, handing out candy to the kids. There were not a whole lot of innocents in Gaza. I'm sorry. That's the situation we are dealing with. And if they want to get in the way, if they want to be willing human shields for Hamas, they're going to die. It's going to be their problem. It's going to be Hamas's problem. People in America have to understand who the guilty party is.
We're in a total agreement.
But this is the problem we're in.
We just need to, I mean, Trump did all he can do. Get out. Say, look, I got this in place, but hey, Netanyahu, Israel parliament, you guys figure it out. Not my problem. I've got to get this economy going or my presidency's over. And we're done.
Well, on the economy, I mean, gas prices are now the lowest that they've been in 4 years.
Yep.
The stock market, of course, is at all-time highs. There's a lot of very good things. Trump is managing to do an awful lot of things at the same time.
Right.
Israel is only one of his smaller issues when you look at it.
The media is on overdrive telling everybody their life is awful. I mean, if you look at what has happened over the last 2 weeks, we thought, well, we've now buttressed the fake news. We got networks like mine out there. No, they have been in overdrive for 1 month telling everybody how miserable they are when they're not.
Yes.
But, people say, yeah, you're miserable. You're miserable. You're miserable. Yeah, well, maybe we are miserable. I mean, turkey was down. Thanksgiving. I mean, people are showing receipts from 24 to 25 showing prices down. It doesn't matter. Fake news says you're miserable.
The fake news version of anger management is make people angry. Give them a problem that they're focused on and blame somebody else for it so that you don't have to address and deal with the problem.
Rabbi, people, I got to go. People want to follow you. Where do they go?
Why Menken on social media, and the organization is CJ Values on social media and cjvalues.org. Thank you so much again.
Always, Rabbi. Always, Rabbi. Have a good week. Michael Patrick Leahy is next. Follow me on social media. TikTok coming out at JF Radio Show.